Told Brad after that, a couple of unbelievable things for us. Most turnovers in a decade and highest field goal percentage. That doesn't seem to add up, but that was a Katie Clem Haskins war. I know he's trying to build a culture here and doesn't have everything he wants yet, but if the teams play that hard, it reminded me when we started, I think that's going to bode well for him in rejuvenating the program. So hats off to them in that way, but I got to say hats off to my guys too, because we took that licking early. We put in some things that we thought would be effective against them, and we got some backdoor things. Bridges was a man. He really was in every way, shape, or form. And Jaron Jackson had play after play. And it's easy. I'm hardest on my point guards. And even though Cassius had the 8 turnovers, in the first 4 that he had, 3 of them were a big spot. They didn't come up. They didn't pressure release. It was ridiculous what we did. And the point guard looks bad. And so that didn't bother me. The push-offs at the end, I got to look at them. I had 3 of those called. I've never seen that in my career, and that hurt him and it hurt us. But Langford was solid. Tough game for Nick Ward. The way they pressured our guards, we couldn't get it into them, not because of Nick, but because of the guards. And they run some things where, Hinkie, who hasn't been shooting well, made some shots early, and so we tried to make some adjustments there. But it was a total team win because we got a lot of different guys that helped us tonight. Kenny Goins at times, Schilling at times. But the mistakes we made, I give, usually easy to blame my guys. I give them credit. It was unbelievable pressure.
Now, you touched on this a little bit, but just after all the turnovers to start, how important of a step was it for the young team on the road to be able to kind of work through that and settle in a little bit?
You must have been in my locker room. That's exactly what I said. We are young yet, and they had to deal with that, and that was not easy to deal with. And even Cassius and Tom, we kind of left them hanging out there, So don't be as alarmed. I'm almost more excited about Cassius's 8 assists and Tom's 4 than I was their 13 turnovers because of the way that early beginning went. So for our young team to have to be in a fist fight and win when, sometimes we question whether they're tough enough and they're this and they're that. If we would have played a little better down the stretch, it could have been a 20-point win on the road. But I'll take the 13-point win and go home.
Tom, would you talk about Jaron tonight? Showed some real athleticism, going coast to coast, left hand. Could you?
Jaron, I thought, was unbelievable. The only thing that happened to Jaron is he got tired, because he was so good and he was blocking shots. And then, number 2 for them really started playing well down the stretch. Started making some shots, Nichols, and some of those were on him. Some of them were on. I thought we got a little tired defensively. Miles playing the most minutes he's played in a long time, and Jaron probably playing the most minutes he's ever played here. And in a game that was going up and down. So he showed me something that he could do more than I thought he could do, and yet we couldn't sub him as much. But just the job, the end-to-end with his left hand was big time. The drive in there, the 3-point play. Everybody looks at him as just a 3-point shooter. He's far from that, and in this game, because they pressured him so much, he was able to show that he can put it on the floor for a 6'11" guy to do that the way he did it. It was impressive.
Following up a little on the same lines. Well, first of all, he got hit in the head. I assume he was.
I was worried about that because they said he was a little, really, the guy landed on him and his head hit the ground, and I really didn't see any more, but Nick told me I'm taking him back, and I said, wow, this day and age, but when I got in the tunnel, he was waiting for the team. So that's another thing I learned about him, even more toughness than I anticipated. So those things were all positives for us.
How much has that emphasis been, though, with him recently, the last few weeks, on that not just kind of hanging around the 3-point line and attacking a little bit more?
I think two things that we've done a pretty good job of as a staff is we've gotten Miles a little more assertive, and we've gotten Jaron where he's playing a little harder every day and a little more assertive and putting it on the floor and doing some things. I was impressed with him. I really was.
Can I ask about that? It looked like you were using Miles and Jaron at times in like a two-man game out front. I mean, I guess talk about Miles' ability the past few games to attack the basket, because it seems like that's starting to come into form.
Well, I think we talked about this a lot of time, even in our little round table that we have, that, he's got to be able to do those things. And I think he's so much better with the ball than he was a year ago, but yet, didn't understand maybe he could do those things. So, I don't know how you play much better, because he was pretty good defensively until he got really tired. He was really good, shooting the ball, and he shot it from different ways. And at one time he had a block on one end and a tip dunk on the other. He's starting to figure it out, and that was fun to watch those guys, but it wasn't fun to watch the number of turnovers, I'll tell you that. At least this game, those turnovers to me were, two things happened. They were well earned, because Illinois played so hard. But there were a lot of dead ball turnovers until late in the second half, which at least didn't turn into layups.
I was going to ask you about the turnovers too, because it seems like the guards are starting to see more pressure farther away from the basket. I mean, is that something that's relatively new since the Ohio State game, or has it been going on a little earlier?
I don't think so. I think that this team was just, that's what they do. They turn everybody in the league over 18 times a game, So it's not just us. We aided to a couple of things. And again, to make sure you understand this, a lot of those turnovers and Cash's were not his. Everybody knows I'm hard on him, but I actually was impressed until the third time he drove and hooked the guy, that his defense, and that was a big worry. They run that handoff, and if a guard isn't working, he doesn't get through it. So I don't think it's, that's going to be a problem. We're going to get better at it too. This was a good experience for us, but nobody that I've seen that we played this year or last year put as much pressure on as them. And yet, it hurt them some because of those back doors.
Anything else for Coach Izzo? All right.
Thanks a
thank you.
lot. Get home safe.
The 25 turnovers were the most